So look at here. There are n numbers of organisms, different types of organisms. So you have to observe the organisms and tell me, do they belong to one phylum only or they belongs to different phylum? If they are belongs to one only, so you have to tell me the name of that. Yes. No one is answering. What happened? Yes, answer it quickly. Yes, Anushika.
Belong to one phylum.
Sorry?
I think they belong to one phylum.
Okay, can you tell me the name?
Chordates.
Chordates. Okay. What about you, Aarti?
Ma'am, there are ma'am, some are chordates, ma'am.
And some?
Non-chordates, I think so.
Okay. So you both are actually correct. Earlier, if we will observe the classification system which was given by the Bebson in 1885, according to him, they all belongs to the same phylum Chordate. Okay, but later some other scientists came and they segregate these organisms and they make two phylum. Okay, one is chordate and another one is hemichordate. So earlier Betson have placed the hemichordate in chordate. Okay, but now in a current situation, hemichordate is a separate phylum. Okay, so yes, they all are earlier in an ancient period of time or the previous classification system, they all belongs to the one phylum chordate, but in a current situation they belongs to two different group, chordate and hemichordate. Okay, when we were discussing about the basis of classification, at that time we have discussed about the notochord, right? What is notochord?
Ma'am, I think
What is
backbone,
notochord?
ma'am.
Yes,
Backbone.
backbone. Okay, so do we have a notochord? Okay. We
We
have a
have backbone.
backbone. Ah, that means we are having notochord. Yes, Anushika, what is notochord?
I'm not sure.
Okay, whatever you know, please tell me.
During the developmental stage, notochord develops.
Mhm. In the image also you can see there is a rod-like structure, right? Yeah,
This
this rod-like structure, in some organism it is a soft rod-like structure, in some organism it is a bony rod-like structure. This is notochord. So in some organisms they will retain throughout the lifespan. In some organisms notochord will be there in the embryonic stage, but in adults it will be replaced by the vertebral column. Okay, so we are having vertebral column right now. When we were in the stage of embryo, at that time we were having the notochord. Okay, So let's start Hemichordata. Hemichordata is made up of basically three words: hemi, chord, ata. Hemi means half. Chord means as you have. Chord means notochord. Okay. So those organism which is having half characteristic of notochord bearing organism. Okay. Means hemichordata are those organisms which those having half of the characteristic which is similar to the chordates, okay, or the notochord bearing organism, and that's why the name is half notochord bearing or hemichordata. Okay, in the year of 1885, this Betson have placed this Hemichordata into the phylum. Which phylum? Chordata. Okay. So he said that organisms are having characteristics similar to the chordates. So let's place this group into the phylum Chordata. But some of the other scientists from the year of 1939 to the 1959, lots and lots of scientists came, like Van der Hurst, then like Marcus, okay, and many more scientists came, and they have considered that not all the characteristics are similar to the chordata, but some of the characteristics are similar to the chordata, whereas some characteristics are similar to the non-chordates. So they have placed hemichordates in a non-chordate. Okay, clear? So chalo, let's see the characteristic of hemichordata. They look like a U-shaped organism. Always they always be in a U-shaped position. Okay, and that's why they have a body shape like a U shape. Okay, the body is warm, brittle, and very soft. The whole body is divided into three parts: proboscis, collar, the middle part is the collar, and trunk. Are you getting me? Yes? So Hemichordata, earlier it was thought to be a subphylum of chordate, but now it is placed under the non-chordate, so it is a separate phylum now. Okay? And they are U-shaped organism. Okay? And the body is divided into three parts: proboscis, collar, and the trunk. Okay? Yes. As you can see, the body wall is single layered structure which is called as a epidermis, as they are having a single layer, outer layer, epidermis, and they don't have dermis or hypodermis or the subcutaneous like what we are having. Okay, they have a single layer structure and which is called epidermis. Okay, they are triploblastic, and as they are triploblastic, which means they are having three germ layers: ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. Okay, which means they are having true coelom. The coelom, which type of coelom they are having? Enterocoelous. Okay, this enterocoelous is further divided into three things: protocele, mesocele, and metacele. As you can see in the structure also, there are different parts of the body cavity. Yes, they are the reduced form of coelom, okay, and these different parts of coelom, the reduced form of coelom, they are one is the protocele, mesocele, and metacele. So this one is the which is also called as the collar coelom, is the mesocele. This is the protocele, okay, and this one is the metacele. Okay, clear? Yes? You say yes or no? Okay. Now let's see their life processes. That is respiration, circulation, excretion. Okay. So respiratory pigment. The respiration is done by the respiratory pigment. As you can see in the image also, they are having small gill pores. Yeah. In which part of the body? In which part of the body?
Collar, ma'am.
The whole body is divided into three parts, right?
Collar, ma'am.
Collar, very good. So in their collar section of the body, they are having a colorless blood. Okay, they are having a colorless blood, and this pigment is the vanadium. So vanadium is what? Colorless pigment or respiratory pigment. Okay, and the blood is colorless. And vanadium is a respiratory pigment. These pigments are present in the gills or the gill slits or the pores, which helps in the respiration, which is responsible for the respiration. Okay, so respiratory organ is what? Gills. Okay, gill slits, gill pores plus body surface. Okay, it should be plus, not or. Okay, gills and body surface. Now the circulatory system. As we know that the blood is colorless and they have a respiratory pigment, vanadium. So the colorless blood is look like a amoeboid corpuscles. Okay, because amoeba is also a colorless. Remember the porifera structure, they were also having the amoebocyte, amoeba like cell. Remember, because the shape of the cell is not fixed. So same here, the blood cell, the shape of the blood cell is not fixed, so it looks like a amoeboid type. Okay, as they are colorless, so it looks exactly like a amoeba, and hence the name is, yes, and hence it is called amoeboid corpuscles. Clear? Now the heart. Heart is the most important circulatory organ which is located in the dorsal side of the hemichordates. Okay, the image is related to the melanoglossus. The example of this image, given image, is a melanoglossus. Okay, this is the standard or the best example of hemichordata. So whenever we discuss about the characteristic, we always use the example melanoglossus. Now let's see the skeleton. So they don't have a endoskeleton structure. Okay, the skeleton tissue, the bones are absent, and that's why some of the scientists in the recent time, they won't place hemichordata in the chordates because they don't have a bony structure or the skeleton structure. Okay. True notochord is also absent. So how it can be chordate? Because they are not fulfilling the balanoglossus or the organisms related to the hemichordata. They are not fulfilling the basic feature of the chordate, and that is presence of notochord. Plus, they don't have a post-anal tail also. So, because of these characteristics, we cannot place hemichordate into the chordate. Now, the another characteristic. Okay, before the fertilization or reproduction, some other characteristics are there like nervous system. Okay, in hemichordate, the central nervous system is just like a non-chordate. So this is one of the similarity, and because of that, they have placed in non-chordate. Sometimes examiner may ask why the hemichordates have placed in a non-chordate or why they have placed in a chordate. Okay, so here these statements are supporting that the hemichordates have placed in non-chordate. So as these features, which is for the chordate, which is not there, which is absent, so it is non-chordate. Another one is central nervous system. Central nervous system is just like or similar to non-chordate. Okay, the brain is like a nerve ring. Okay, another characteristic is the excretion. So in hemichordates, they are having single glomerulus, which is located in proboscis. Single glomerulus. As a single glomerulus is present in proboscis, so and the excretion is taking place with the help of the single glomerulus, so it is called as the proboscis gland. Okay, proboscis gland, because it looks like a gland, not a whole system, and hence the name is proboscis gland. Clear? Okay. Now, the reproduction. Next characteristic is reproduction. So these hemichordates, they are mostly unisexual. What is the meaning of unisexual? They are unisexual, and they can reproduce sexually. Okay, so how they can reproduce sexually? Male and female, they both releases the gametes into the external environment, and external fertilization takes place. internal fertilization takes place. Okay, after the fertilization, there will be the development of zygote, larva, right? So here the development is indirect, okay? And they produces larva, that is tornaria. This tornaria is a freely swimming larva. Okay, here I am giving you one more larva, that is bipinnaria, and this bipinnaria is the larval stage of echinodermata, not the hemichordata. Okay, echinodermata. So why I gave this larva of echinodermata? To give you the reference that this tornaria is similar to this bipinnaria, which is the larval stage of the echinodermata. They are similar. Okay. So this is again one of the reasons to place in a non-chordate. Okay. The larval stage is similar to one of the non-chordates.
Ma'am, the B one is
Yes.
non-chordate, ma'am.
Yes. Echinodermata is non-chordate. Their larval stage is similar to the early bipinnaria, not the late bipinnaria, and hence we can say that they have a similarity with non-chordate. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now let's see the classification. Before moving to the classification, we need to know the examples of hemichordata. One is Belanoglossus. Belanoglossus. Belanoglossus is also known as a tongue worm, a cornworm. Is also called as tongue worm or a cornworm. Okay. Another example is Sacoglossus tychodora. Tychodera. These are the examples. Another example is Rhabdopleura, Cephalodiscus, and Tuberia. So this Hemichordata is classified into two classes, and that is Interomusta and Pterobranchio. So as you can see in the image also, they look completely different, right? Yes. So this classification is based on their structure, their morphology. Okay. On the basis of their morphology, Hemichordata is divided into two classes, Enteropneusta and Pterobranchia. And the example of Enteropneusta, Belanoglossus, which is also called as tongue worm or acorn worm, Sacoglossus, and Trichodera. Okay, whereas the example of Triobranchia, Rhabdopleura, Cephalodiscus, Tuberia. Okay, there is nothing much in your syllabus in Hemichordata. Now let's see another phylum, and that is Chordata. Okay, so to being a chordate, they should have some fundamental or basic features. Then only we can say that, okay, this organism belongs to the phylum Chordata. And what are they? On what basis we can classify the organism under the chordate? The most basic and most important one is, please tell me quickly. Yes?
Their structure, ma'am.
Structure, okay. So the most fundamental characteristics to being a chordate is the presence of notochord. You can see in the image also. Notochord, pharyngeal slits, postnatal tail. Yes? Yeah? What happened, Anushika? Everything is okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Ha. So, to being a chordate, each and every organism should have some fundamental characteristic, and that is the presence of notochord either only in the embryonic stage or throughout the lifespan. Okay, they should have a pharyngeal gills, they should have a postnatal tail, and they should have a dorsal tubular nerve cord. So these four characteristics is the fundamental characteristic to being a chordate. Continuously we are talking about the chordate, chordate, chordate. What is chordate? What is the meaning of the chordate? This chordate is made up of two words, chord and atta. Chord is a thick string, that is notochord. Okay, and atta, to have, means organisms which bears thick string-like structure, the notochord, they comes under the chordata, or they are called as chordata. Okay, yes. So this chordata, they all should follow in any time of your life history or lifespan, any stage of your lifespan. If they are having these four characteristics, then only we will consider them as a chordate. Okay, so the chordates can be aquatic, can be terrestrial, either they are aerial, free living, parasitic, okay, or basically all these organisms who is aquatic, terrestrial, aerial, free living, or maybe parasitic, they all are considered as a chordate. So these are the habits and habitat. As we move towards the higher organisms, we always have a bilateral type of symmetry. Okay, we all are triploblast, germinal layer, ecto, meso, and endo. So are we coelomate, pseudocoelomate, or acoelomate? Or the chordates are what? Yes. Yes, tell me. Are we coelomate or not? Just give me the answer of that.
Coelomate, ma'am.
Yes, we are coelomate, right? All the higher organisms, okay, from the echinodermata, all the organisms are not from the echinodermata, from the annelida till the nematoda. Either the organism is acoelomate or pseudocoelomate. Only the nematoda is pseudocoelomate. After that, each and every organism is coelomate. Always remember that. Okay. So here, the coelom is of enterocoelous type. As you can see here in the image also, there are two types of organisms on the basis of formation of coelom, either the protostome or deuterostome. In protostome, here the coelom, the body cavity, okay, the body cavity is lined by the mesoderm. But here the mesoderm is getting split to make a coelom. Whereas in the deuterosomes, the body cavity is not lining by the splitting of mesoderm layer, but by the whole mesoderm layer. Are you getting me? If the mesoderm layer gets split during the formation of coelom, then such type of organism are called as protostome. If the organisms are having a coelom where the mesoderm is not getting split, okay, then they are called as deuterosome. So, chordates are deuterosome animals. Clear?
Ma'am, the level of organization will be what, ma'am? Organ system, ma'am.
Sorry.
Level of organization.
Obviously, organ system level, all the organisms, all the higher organisms, okay, they all are having organ system level of organization. We are having, all the chordates are having complete digestive system, respiratory system, excretory system. Whether here there are different types of excretory system, okay, meta, meso, and pronephron, okay, which is the another thing, but we all are having a proper system for different processes. Okay, now the next characteristic is digestive system. So all the chordates are having complete digestive system. Alimentary canal is complete, means one opening for ingestion, mouth, and the another side is the opening for excretion, anus. So such type of digestive system where both the opening are there for different process, ingestion and egestion. So it is complete digestive system. Okay, here in the chordates, digestion takes extracellularly. Extracellularly means extracellular digestion, which means what? Yes, we digest food extracellularly. Extracellular digestion.
Between the cells, ma'am.
Between the cells. Okay, Anushika, what do you think?
Is to enzymes. That
Sorry.
digestion takes place like not in the cells but through the enzymes.
Okay.
I'm
If it
not
is
sure.
intracellular, then
I'm not sure, ma'am.
okay. The name itself suggesting extra outside the cell. If digestion is proceeding, or the process of digestion is done by the tissues, muscular structure, means outside the cell. In a group, n number of cells are performing the function of digestion. Okay, either by secreting enzymes, juices, acids, by any way, but not internally, not in the cytoplasm, but outside in a collective way. All the cells, n number of cells, they are grouping together and then digesting the food, right? So such type of digestion is extracellular digestion. Okay, during the normal respiration, what happens? We first we ingest the food, food will digest, then the glucose will enter into each and every cell, right? And then our body break down the glucose and form ATP, right? Here the breaking down of glucose and formation of ATP inside each and every cell. This is called as cellular digestion, which is not happening for the normal digestion of food. Means digestion of starch, complex carbohydrate is done by the muscles, muscular structure, and not by the individuals. Clear? So it is extracellular digestion. Okay. Another characteristic is the circulation. Okay. Circulation, circulatory system. What are the different parts of the circulatory system? Heart, blood vessels, either the arteries, veins, blood, lymphatic system. These are what? The part of the circulatory system, right? So here, the heart is located below the alimentary canal at the ventral side. Okay, heart is present below the alimentary canal, which is not mandatory, which is not compulsory to each and every organism which belongs to the chordate, like us. Is it possible that heart is present below the alimentary canal? No. But yes, it is present on a ventral side. Okay. Ventral side. In some of the organism, heart is located below the alimentary canal at ventral side of the body. Blood flows from the interior to the posterior side. Here in the chordates, blood used to flow from the interior to the posterior, means from the inner side to the outer posterior side. The same happens with us also, right? Posterior side in the dorsal blood vessels. Okay, tell me one thing. We can see the blood veins over there, right? What type of blood vessel we can see? Arteries or veins? Yes. Anyone? Yes,
Arteries, ma'am.
arteries. Okay. Anushika?
Veins. They are veins.
Veins. Yes. What you can see, the superficially on the external part on the skin, which is just below the skin, is the vein, because vein carries deoxygenated blood. Okay. If something happen, if any injuries happen, so deoxygenated blood will get affected, not the oxygenated one. And that's why veins are there. Okay. So, blood vascular system is what? Is of closed type. In chordates, all the organisms is having closed type of circulatory system. We all the chordates are having a special type of pigment, that is hemoglobin, which is the respiratory pigment for the chordates. Why it is called as a respiratory pigment? Why hemoglobin is the respiratory pigment? Is there any specific function for that? Because hemoglobin is having a special type of element, that is iron. Okay. So once we respire, once we breathe, and oxygen reaches to the blood, here the hemoglobin is present. Inside the hemoglobin, iron is present. This iron gets oxidized, binds with the oxygen, and now this hemoglobin will carry the oxygen to different parts of the body, and hence it is called as respiratory pigment. Clear? Okay. Now let's see the another characteristic there, hepatic portal system. Hepatic portal system is there in all the chordates, but in some of them the renal portal system is there, whereas in some chordates renal portal system is not there. Renal portal system is absent. So here it is also written as renal portal system is also present in chordates except birds and mammals. But we do have a hepatic portal system. What is hepatic portal system? What is hepatic portal system? Yes, what is hepatic portal system? Hepatic portal system is that duct or the circulation or the transportation from the liver. Okay, if the duct is connecting or circulation of blood is there from the liver to the alimentary canal. For example, during the digestion of food, the liver produces bile juice. It will go and store in the gallbladder. Then through the gallbladder, there is a duct, hepatopoietic duct. Yes. So through the hepatopoietic duct, it will reaches to the duodenum where the further digestion takes place. So here they need blood, right, for the circulation. So this is called a hepatic portal system. Clear? Which connects liver and the other part of the digestive system. Clear? Another characteristic is skeleton. So, endoskeleton is there in the chordates, but what about the exoskeleton? Exoskeleton is highly developed among the vertebrate, but not other group of the chordates. Whereas endoskeleton is there in all the chordates. Okay, the endoskeleton, whether they are made up of cartilage or bones or both cartilage and bones. Okay, here you can see the image of embryo where we are having the bony structure notochord, which gets replaced in a vertebrate with vertebral column. Okay, they are having a muscular tail, that is postnatal tail. Okay, this tail, postnatal tail, will get reduced or disappear in some of the vertebrates, in some of the chordates, and the example is man and apes, because our ancestor is what? Apes. Okay, so this is the evolutionary characteristic. Another characteristic is related to the reproduction. Chordates are also unisexual. Okay, the sexes are separate, either the male individual or the female individual. They do the internal, most of the chordates do the internal fertilization. Some of the chordates can do the external fertilization. External fertilization can be done by the fishes, can be done by the amphibians. Okay, some of the organisms develop the embryo externally. Okay, some will develop the embryo internally. Means the chordates is a group of oviparous as well as viviparous organism. Okay, here in the organisms, development of embryo is direct, either without the larval stage or with the larval stage. So here the metamorphosis is with the larval stage. What is metamorphosis? What is metamorphosis?
Embryo development, ma'am.
Hello, Aarti.
Yes, ma'am. Embryo development.
Embryo development. Okay, Anushika, what is metamorphosis? Metamorphosis. The word metamorphosis is made up of two things. Yes, tell me, Anushika.
Development of embryo.
Ah, okay, but what it is, metamorphosis? Morphosis word is similar to some word like what?
Morphology.
Morphology. Okay, so morphosis is a morphology. Meta means meta means large or huge. Okay, so when there is a huge changes in the morphology during the embryo development, this process is called as metamorphosis. Okay, huge changes in the morphology of organisms during the larval development, during the embryo development, this process is called as metamorphosis. Clear? Yes, we were talking about the excretory organ. So, here the chordates have three different types of kidney: proto, meso, and metanephric kidney. Each and every organism belongs to the chordate. They are having excretory organ, kidney. Okay, but we already know that inside the kidney there is a special type of structure, the unit of excretion, that is nephron, right? So in different organisms, they are having different types of kidney on the basis of the structure of nephron. Either they are pronephric or protonephric, mesonephric, or metanephric. Protonephric means the structure of nephron will be very reduced form, very primitive form. Okay, as you can see here in the image also, this is the protonephric type. Why it is called as protonephric type? Because the structure is not complete. They are having pronephric tube, okay, and one glomerulus is there, which is again a very reduced form, not a well developed one, okay. Whereas the mesonephric, you can see they are having the mesonephric duct. This duct is incomplete, okay. Whereas here the duct is complete, because not complete, partially complete, because they are connected with the excretory organ or the excretory system, the end point, okay. Plus they are having a mesonephric tube. The primitive one is having pronephric tube, whereas in mesonephric uh, kidney, they are having mesonephric tube. Okay. In metanephric, the structure, the nephron structure is complete, huge, with the attachment of the duct with proper excretory pore or excretory organ. Okay, so all the higher organisms, all the higher vertebrates, they are having metanephric type of kidney. Okay, lower vertebrates, they are having mesonephric kidney. For example, fishes and amphibians, they are having mesonephric kidney, whereas reptile, birds, and mammals, they are having metanephric kidney. Whereas lower chordates like urochordates, cephalochordates, they are having pronephric kidney. Clear? Chordates are mixed. Some are called cold-blooded, some are warm-blooded, because of the type of circulation, because of the type of heart structure. For example, Pisces, they are having dual-chambered or two-chambered heart, right? So there is a mixing of blood, and because of that, they are not able to maintain the body temperature. Single circulation is there. So it is cold-blooded. So all the organisms who is cold-blooded, they are called as poikilotherm. If the organisms are able to maintain the double circulation, blood is passing twice in a one complete cycle to the heart, that means they are having double circulation, okay. And because of the double circulation, there is a high pressure, high speed of blood movement, and hence they are able to maintain the warm temperature. So the organism with the warm blood, they are called as homeothermous or homeothermy. Clear? Okay. Now let's see the classification of chordates. The chordates are classified into two groups, protochordata and vertebrata. Okay, so protochordata is also called as the lower one, acraniata. This acraniata is further divided into three subphylum. Earlier it was the part of Hemichordata was the part of chordata, but now it is not a part. So Urochordata, Cephalochordata. And the another one is Craniata, who is having the vertebral column in the adult stage instead of notochord. So they are called as vertebrata. This vertebrata or the craniata is further divided into two sections, vertebrata and gnathostomata. Gnathostomata, vertebrata section is having cyclostomata, okay, and cyclostomata, agnatha and gnathostomata. Okay, this agnatha and gnathostomata is the division of the vertebral column. So it should be agnatha. Agnatha and gnathostomata. Then the gnathostomata is further divided into Pisces and Tetrapoda. And Tetrapoda. Pisces and Tetrapoda is the superclass. So Pisces is further divided into the class Chondrochytes, Osteocytes on the basis of the component of skeleton. Either the skeleton is made up of cartilage or bone. Okay. Now the Tetrapoda is a superclass which is further divided into the classes Amphibia, Reptilia, Aves and Mammalia. Okay. Cyclostomata is a part of the gnathostomata. Okay, clear? So this is the classification of chordata. Now let's see the subphylum, the characteristic of subphylum of chordata. The first subphylum is Urochordata. The Urochordata is also called as tunicate. Okay, and the example is herdmania. This is what herdmania. Okay, Anushika, let's take a small break, then we will start. Okay. Hello. Hello, Anushika. Am I audible?
Ma'am.
Hello, Anushika.
Yes, ma'am.
Huh. So we were talking about the classification of chordata. Yeah. So whole group, whole phylum of chordata is divided into craniata or craniata, right? Acraniata or craniata. So on what basis the chordate phylum chordata have classified into two categories, into two groups, on the basis of their structure of cranium, on the basis of their structure of presence or absence of vertebral column, as well as pair of appendages. Please write it down. On the basis of cranium. What is cranium? What is cranium? Yes.
Situated or the bony structure protecting the brain.
Exactly. And third characteristic is paired appendages. Okay. So on the basis of these structure, the chordata have classified into two groups: acraniata, no cranium, and craniata. Means they are having cranium. Okay. So now let's talk about acraniata. Acraniata or protochordata means primitive. Okay. Primitive chordata, they all are small in size, they all respire through gills, they are having pharyngeal gill cleft or gill slits, okay, but in a embryonic stage, and in some of them it is still present in the adult stage, okay. Notochord is there throughout the life. In all the protochordata, notochord will be there throughout the life. Acraniata is further divided in a current situation. In a present day, it is divided into two subphylum: Urochordata and Cephalochordata. Okay, so let's start with the Urochordata. This Urochordata is a marine organism, and they are also called as tunicates. Okay, example is Herdmania. So this Urochordata or tunicate, they are marine and freely swimming larvae, not the adult one. In the larval stage, they can swim freely, but once they become adult, they will attach to the rock. Please point it. Larva is a freely swimming organism, while adult attached to the rock. Okay. They all are having nerve cords and notochord. But the notochord exists in a tadpole larva tail. Okay. And it will reduces during the metamorphosis process. Okay. And the chordate characteristic exists in a larval tail, and that's why the name given as a Urochordata, because of the presence of chordate characters in a larval stage. Once they develop into the adult some of the chordate characters disappear. Okay, and that's why it is urochordate. Okay, in the larval stage, the body is the body is covered by the special type of structure, that is cellulose. Okay, and this cellulose is what? Tunic. Because of the tunic, this tunic is made up of cellulose. Okay, so the presence of cellulosic layer, that is tunic, this the organism belongs to the Urochordata, is also called as tunicate, tunic bearing organism. Okay, as you can see in the image also, they are having a tube like structure, right? So one is for ingestion and one is for egestion. Okay, so this tube is for egestion, means excretion. Okay, so the tube which is useful for the excretion of or the removal of waste material, they are called as excurrent siphon. Whereas the other tube which is responsible for the ingestion, they are called as incurrent siphon. Okay, so here the incurrent siphon is having a cilia-like structure which helps to take the food. Okay, and they are actually absorb iodine which is present in marine water. So incurrent siphon, incurrent siphon is having ciliary structure that absorb iodine in marine water. Sorry, iodine from marine water. They have a open type of vascular system and heart is located at the ventral side. Okay, just like Hemichordata, they are having a vanadium respiratory pigment. Okay, so from these characteristics, we can conclude that Urochordata is a connecting link between the Hemichordata and the chordata. Okay, because of the presence of characteristics of some of the characteristic of chordata and some of the characteristic of non-chordata, Hemichordata is the connecting link between the non and chordata. Urochordata is a connecting link between Hemichordata and chordata. Clear? Okay. So here the Urochordata, here the sexes are separate and they follows external fertilization. As I told you, larval stage is freely swimming like tadpole, tadpole larva, whereas the adult one, they will attach to the rock. Okay, what are the examples of Urochordata? Herdmania. Herdmania is also called as sea potato or sea squid. Sea potato or sea squid. Next subphylum is Cephalochordata. Okay, when we started the session, I showed you so many organisms, right? in that the first organism word was Escidina, right? So this Escidina is what is the example of neurochordata. Okay. Now let's see the cephalochordata. Cephalochordata are the organisms or the group of organisms that can swim in a shallow sea water. So they are also called as shallow sea water dwellers. Okay. Shallow sea water dweller. Okay. They usually live under the sand. They borrow the sand and they live under that, okay, under the hole. But at the night time, they coming out, okay, and that's why they are also called as nocturnal animal, because during the night time they come out and do the feeding and roaming here and there, but at the daytime they will remain inside the sand hole. Okay. The body of the cephalochordata, as you can see here, also is divided into the head and trunk and tail. Is it? No. In the image you can see they are having tail, postnatal tail, right? They are having trunk, but they are not having proper head. They are having mouth, but still the trunk is a uniform continuous to the another end. Okay, they are having tail, they are having trunk, but they are not having separate head. Okay, that means the whole body is divided into two parts, tail and trunk. Here the head is fused with the trunk only. Okay, not a prominent head. Okay, but we consider that body is complete from head to tail because of the presence of mouth. Clear? Okay. So they are also having the complete digestive system. They are having notochord. Okay. Notochord and nerve cord is extended from one end of the body to the another end. From the mouth, from the tip of the trunk to the postnatal tail. Okay. And the notochord is a fundamental characteristic of the chordata, right? So here in the cephalochordates, notochord will persist throughout the life. Okay. Cephalochordates, they are unisexual. They follow the external fertilization. The development is through the larval stage. So these are the characteristics of cephalochordates. Now let's see the vertebrata. Vertebrata is the craniata, right? Means the organisms are having cranium. Vertebrata because they are having vertebral column. Yeah, because of the formation or development of vertebral column. They have a prominent head. They are having jaw. Yes, and hence it is called as vertebrata. Because of the cranium, it is called as craniata. Okay, so vertebrata or craniata is one of the subphylum of the phylum Chordata. Here you can see there are different types of organism belongs to the vertebrata because of the presence of vertebral column. So the lowest one is the fishes. Fishes belongs to the cyclostomata, okay, and rest other belongs to the tetrapoda. Tetrapoda means tetrapoda. Poda is the appendages. limbs. Okay, tetra means 4. So 4 limbs. Okay, so all those organisms who is having 4 appendages, okay, they all are called as tetrapoda. So amphibians, reptiles, birds or apes and mammals, they all are having 4 limbs, okay, and that's why they all belongs to the superclass tetrapoda, whereas only fish belongs to the superclass cyclostomata. Okay, in vertebrata, notochord will be there only during the embryonic stage, but slowly the notochord get replaced with the vertebral column. So this is all about the craniata. Okay, vertebrata. So there are 2 divisions, anatha and nathostoma, right? So nathostoma is divided into 2. That is cyclostomata and the tetrapoda. Okay, that we will discuss in the next class. Okay. Now the vertebrata or craniata is divided into 2 sections, natha and nathostomata. So first section is anatha. Anatha means absence of jaw. So all the organisms, the fishes who is jawless, they are comes under the group Anatha. Okay, are you getting confused? Yes, yes, Pakka. Okay, chalo, I will recapitulate for you. The chordate is divided into 2. Okay, acraniata and craniata. Acraniata is further divided into 2 in a current situation: neurochordata, cephalochordata. Silent. Now, craniata. Craniata is also called as vertebrata. They are divided into 2 sections, 2 divisions: anatha and nathostomata. Okay, anatha is having 2 classes. Okay, nathostomata is further divided into superclasses, that is cyclostomata and tetrapoda. Okay, cyclostomata is having class Physos. Clear? And tetrapoda is further divided into the classes amphibia, apes, reptilia and mammalia. Clear the classification? Okay, so here we are discussing about the anatha. Okay, this anatha means absence of jaw. Okay, and hence they are called as jawless organism. Okay, here as it is a chordate, so definitely they will follow the fundamental characteristic presence of notochord. Here the notochord will be there throughout the life, whether in the larval or adult. It will remain, it will persist throughout the lifetime. Okay, they are having 7 and even more than that paired gill pouches. Okay, whereas once we move to the nathostomata, we will find that there will be 4 to 7. Here it is 7 or more than that gill pouches are there for the respiration, for the breathing. Okay, so as you can see here in the image also, they are having teeth. The natha is having, they don't have jaw, but they are having teeth. Okay, so here the natha is divided into 2 classes, and that is ostracodermy and cyclostomata. It is divided into 2 classes: ostracodermy cyclostomata. Now the cyclostomata is further divided into, but means it includes the physis. Okay. Plus, the cyclostomata is also part of gnathostomata also. Okay. So we can consider cyclostomata, some of the cyclostomata as anatha, some of the cyclostomata as gnathostomata. Sorry. So now let's talk about ostracodermy. All the member of ostracodermy, they are extinct. Now there is no more member of ostracodermy. They are extinct. All the members are extinct. Okay, but when they were there in the world, in the earth, they were freshwater fishes. Okay, and they were the first fish or first animal which was having complete vertebral column or the vertebrate. Okay, and the example is Cephalopsis, Okay, it was there in the earth, in the world during the primitive vertebrate period, okay, which is also called as Ordovician period. Ordovician period. At that time, such organisms was there in the earth. Okay, so these are the characteristic, the classification of a gnatha. Okay, there is one organism like lamprey, hagfish. Do they belong to a gnatha or cyclostomata? Sorry, ostracodermy or cyclostomata?
Cyclostomata.
Lamprey.
Cyclostomata.
Okay, hagfish.
Cyclostomata.
Okay. Sure. Now let's see another category of vertebrata, that is gnathostomata. Gnathostomata means the vertebrates are having jawed vertebrate. Okay, so here the vertebrates have classified on the basis of presence or absence of jaw. If it is not there, if the jaw is not there, then the organism will belong to the agnatha. If the jaw is there, then the animals will belong to the gnathostomata. Okay, the gnathostomata is having nearly about 60,000 species. Okay, and out of these 60,000 species, 99% are still living. Only 1% organisms have extinct. Means 1% species have extinct. Okay, so there is not much in gnathostomata. Okay, once we will discuss about the classification of gnathostomata, then I will tell you the difference between the agnatha and gnathostomata. Okay, means in next class. Okay, chalo. For now, let's start practicing question. Which among the following is incorrect about the Hemichordata? They have three main parts in their body, namely proboscis, collar, and long trunk. Open circulatory system is present in these organisms. Excretion takes place through proboscis gland. Hemichordates are organisms that contain notochord like chordates but lack in all other features.
D option, ma'am.
Option D.
D.
Hemichordates are organisms that contains notochord like chordates. Pakka?
This one.
Okay. So yes, correct answer is option D. Which among the following is odd? Neurochordata, cephalochordata, vertebrata, and ornatha.
Vertebrata.
Pakka.
This one.
Okay. Then what about ornatha?
Agnata is a classification of vertebrata.
Yes. So these three are the subphylum, whereas ornatha is not a subphylum, but it is a section of vertebrata. So which one is odd here?
Agnata.
Yes. So this is all about today's class, where we have learned about the characteristic and classification of organisms like Hemichordata and fundamental characteristic of chordata, the classification and characteristic of chordata. So what are the fundamental characteristic of chordata?
Notochord, presence of notochord,
Number one,
and then parental gill slits,
yes,
post-anal chain,
yes,
and then
this one want to come fast.
dorsal ventral nerve cord.
Yes, dorsal nerve cord. Okay, so this is for fundamental characteristics, okay, to being a chordate. Okay, what are the subphylum of chordata?
Subphylum are cephalochordata, urochordata, and then vertebrata.
Very good. Okay, what is the other name of protochordata?
Acraniate.
Very good, very good. That means whatever we have discussed today is now everything is familiar to you, and you need only one revision.